Welcome to another match analysis video. This one's on RAAS V1, once again one of my favorite maps and layer combinations, and this is a really good match and I'm pretty excited to show it. Before I get into it, I want to ask kind of a hypothetical question. If you have a below average team that's been losing matches and you have, say, 5 or 6 experienced clan members with you in your Discord, how can you arrange them in the most effective way to possibly win a match? Would it be to have one infantry squad all tied together? Would it be to run all the armor? Would it be to have multiple people leading multiple different types of squad? How would you do it if you absolutely had to try to get the win and try to get the turnaround? What is the best way to arrange your group? Now, you guys have heard me talk constantly about my philosophies as a squad leader. I've said multiple times that in almost any given situation, no matter how a firefight is going on an objective, there is a fob that can be built that will save it. Similarly, you've heard me talk about how I expect every firefight to be a loss and how I try to compensate for it with spawn-heavy tactics and stuff like that. So, as you might imagine, my ideal setup is going to be having a few infantry squads being led by my guys. The way we ultimately end up going here is I'm going to lead a squad and have one BHM member in with me. Stiff is going to lead a second squad and have one BHM member in with him. And then Fiasco leads a third squad, but I don't think he ends up getting a BHM member. And then we have one of our guys, Angatar, flying a helicopter, which gives us some early game options. This ends up being a perfect match to test my philosophies, because the enemy team all around is going to be better at shooting than our team. They have demonstrated this a few times over, and they're going to demonstrate this again in the early game. And we are going to get we'll just say a not ideal collection of individuals. Stiff squad was pretty good at listening and was ultimately willing to cooperate and communicate, but wasn't necessarily the best with shooting. My squad was actually surprisingly a little bit better with shooting, but was definitely memeing pretty hard in the beginning, and you'll catch a glimpse of a lot of that. So ultimately, we are dealing with the handicap of having to lead blueberries who are probably below average, and then we are trying to compensate for it with macro level plays and the interplay between BHM and our understanding of each other's playstyles, our understanding of RAAS, and then our fast pace of gameplay. This is why I'm really excited to show this match, because I feel like it's an awesome demonstration of the two separate philosophies. Do you have good micro game in one squad, or do you have good macro level plays between a bunch of squads with potentially less desirable infantry? We could have all stuck together and probably accomplished great things as one squad, but instead we're trying to organize everyone and take a team that's been getting stomped and try to push them into something effective.
Advance and secure. Our mission is to secure all objective
Nice
areas.
We got there in time.
Woohoo!
Alright, better join fast if you want in. Locking. I'm unlocking right now.
Oh, is this guy really gonna try and fucking steal it from me?
Squad 3, don't steal helis. It's not nice. Quick note, there's no real heli claim rules on this server. The guy's totally technically justified to run after the heli and try to beat my guy to it, but it's just a general courtesy thing, which is why I said that.
Here, I'm not gonna let you have two hats, Cap. Gonna join the Stiff.
You can grab the light Vic, Stiff. I'll just stick to Logi and heli. I'm stealing Aang though, if he gets it. Alright guys, everybody hop in Logi for now. We may be grabbing a ride with a heli, we will see. Alright, time to talk strategy. So while we're running 3 infantry squads, our RAAS strategy is going to be fairly simple. Every single squad is going to cover one lane. This is a 3-lane, 7-flag layer. There's an east, central, and west lane. So we're going to have to decide amongst ourselves who's going to take what. A couple of things to consider are that we want helicopters to be going towards some of the more heavily contested areas. We only have one helicopter available to us, that is BHM. The other one we have the option of taking should we choose to, but I think we opt out for understandable reasons. Obviously, it's very risky to trust a blueberry pilot, and sometimes I would rather just take a truck there and hope for the best. And then we have one light vehicle that we're also going to try to claim. So what we normally do is every squad will cover their respective backcaps. However, backcaps are going to get interesting for Blue 4. Basically, Blue 4 is at a massive disadvantage on this layer when compared to Op 4 in terms of understanding where the lane is going to be. Both Blue 4 and Op 4 have a first flag that does not clarify lane. However, Russia's second flag can clarify lane. It doesn't always, but it can. And by the time you can see their third flag, you will absolutely clarify lane. By the time the fourth flag and the midpoint pops up, you will have known where the lane is going to be before that flag pops up, and you'll have an advantage there, even in a worst case scenario. US, on the other hand, is different. The first flag, once again, does not clarify lane. The second flag also does not clarify lane. It will never clarify lane. Your first opportunity you have at clarifying lane is your third flag, which is the one just before the midpoint. And what's worse is on 2 of the 3 lanes, they go to the same location, which is East Novo and West Novo. So that means that in 66% of scenarios in which it goes to a central or an east lane, you are not going to know where the midpoint is until the midpoint actually pops up. You will still not know what lane you're in, which means there are, I believe, a total of 9 different objectives across this area of the map that the midpoint can pop up on, and you just have no way of narrowing that down, whereas Russia will most likely have narrowed that down by the time they see their second flag. Now, you can get lucky on Blue 4 because the third flag, after you take Hilltop and then you take Airfield, the third flag can go down to Quarry, which will clarify West Lane. So there is potential for you to understand the lane slightly in advance before seeing the midpoint, but ultimately Russia is just going to beat you to those kind of understandings well in advance. Now, ultimately, in terms of overall strategy, we'd want to get whatever squad's taking the helicopter to either the central or the east lane midpoints, since those are the most contested. Because the back caps always follow a pretty straight line, whoever goes west lane is going to have to cover for Quarry as a potential third back cap, but then the rest of the back caps can all be covered by one light vehicle. If we send an MRAP up to Hilltop, capture that, send it to where the next flag will be, capture that, send it up to Novo. In 2 of the 3 lanes, that's going to be our back cap series, and then the one other lane, if it goes west, it'll already be covered by whoever's in the west lane. They're not going to need a helicopter because it's usually very lightly contested, so that's just going to be a Logi truck heading that way anyway. It'll drop somebody off a Quarry and then potentially start fobbing midpoints. So our back caps can basically be handled by one vehicle and one dismount, so we're not too worried about that. I kind of make the mistake of trying to pawn off the light vehicle on Stiff because at the time I am under the false impression that he has 2 BHM members and I have 1. I don't realize that we have equal numbers. It's very beneficial to have a BHM member in that vehicle so that we don't have to micromanage them and we can trust the back caps will be done efficiently and without too much needing said. So I try to pawn that off on Stiff, which is what you'll hear. And then you'll hear me and my clan start discussing who's going to be taking what lane, who's going to be taking what vehicles, etc. What lane do you want to cover, Stiff?
I'll cover.
Hell yeah, fuck 50.
Oh, let me get a Logi truck quick.
Get West Lane.
Oh yeah, looks like we got a stiff.
With
I'll go east
right
lane.
now.
What?
I'm gonna go central.
Oh.
Stiff.
I'll take Central. I'll go Stephanie.
Scalene triangle.
Look at East.
Look at Stiff Oak.
I got
Tree
Hilo
over
with
there.
aim.
Ah.
Good hell drops
The
fast as
square.
that.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Triangle.
I'll take west then.
What's up, dog? How you doing?
Ah. Scalene triangle.
I smell Russian spot.
Might take commander.
Someone's gonna have to grab back cap over as the light vehicle. Get it, Stiffus.
I'm gonna take care of it.
Sweet. You know where they go? Next one will be North Airfield.
Hey,
the one
who's
after that will
driving
most likely be in
here?
Novo.
What's up?
If you cover
Here,
those
we're gonna
two, I'll
be doing
cover
back
it
cap.
if it goes west lane.
So we're going to Hilltop first.
Pink, you may want to try to get one more person in there.
I can.
Get out of my face.
Yes.
Try to get one other person from your squad, Pink, so you can jump at all 3. I don't want to bug Stiff in case he's in command.
Oh no, we're gonna crash.
Should I just fob up Novo then? Put a fob Novo?
Commander on deck, all
I'd go
systems
further
online.
north and then double back to it. Your potential mids can go
Grab
as
the
far
truck.
north as
Oh,
like
shit.
up here-ish.
The need for speed.
Oh god. I almost fell off.
Hello.
Is that a good girl?
Fuck's sake.
Fucking simps.
Hey,
I'm gonna go
after.
AFK. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
How much about
I
you?
am not for sale.
Really?
Oh yeah.
He's fucking with you.
Oh Jesus.
You sure?
That's why
You don't
nobody
sound
pays
up
so
right now?
good.
For sure.
It's like
You guys,
it's like you
ready to
are
kill a
the
bunch of
mic.
Hajis today or what?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus fuck.
Whoever's back there. We're a little late, but offer.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Truck
respawn.
race.
Alright, simps, let's do this.
Oh,
Today,
ASMR.
we are
Thanks,
finding
what?
star. The face
Please
of
tell that Logi I want to hear some more ASMR.
vicious will not falter.
I see
you
this
gotta do.
song.
Sing us a song in the piano man. Sing us a song
Can we
Laufer, do you have a
tonight.
mic?
personal
While
order
we're
for
all
drop
in the
jump?
mood for
Laufer,
melody.
L-A-U-F-E-R, you there?
And you
bud?
got us feeling alright.
You suck.
I'd rather be hearing Fortunate Son. Good
Alright,
lord.
G-Money, I'm gonna be dropping you off at Quarry, which is on my little point of interest mark out west. Everybody else stay in the
Alright,
truck.
who's
We are
gonna
in 56
who's
calf.
gonna stay with me?
Just you for now. It's a potential back cap.
Some folks are born made
I don't know if I
to
can do that,
explode.
Captain.
I think you can. I believe in you.
No, I've never been on the field by myself.
Don't worry, you just eat the crayons that are in your pouch.
Listen to Disease till walk you through it.
Can I get one guy?
Nope.
Have you ever
Hey,
tried to
bring it in a little bit.
rifle?
Is this guy serious, Captain?
You're gonna have to,
couldn't find a local app data. I had to run
You have a problem with
Central
kidding.
Command your captain.
I feel like he's kidding, but I don't know.
I feel like he's kidding, but he's
Everybody
just
check
looking
your posture.
for that response. It's just seeing if he can't get something out of me.
alone. Not when you have
Like, I'm halfway not sure, you know?
How bad is your posture right now? How bad is it?
Wait, I wish
If you're just joining, hold your spawn for a bit.
He opted out!
Why did you hop out, Money?
He thought we were stopping, 100%.
need some milk?
These guys just kicked me out. They kicked
No.
me off.
How would we kick you off? What?
You're talking to me.
Who am I
Definitely
talking
not the
to?
American
Talking to
Army.
me. It gets bugged sometimes.
your brain. Call it a day.
Alright, what you're gonna need to do is eat 2 of the red crayons now. That'll make you
Say
feel a
again?
little bit better.
Alright,
And then you're
Tommy,
gonna-
I'd
You
like
want
to
more supplies?
congratulate you.
No.
You just became our quarry
Just
back
get ready
captain.
to pull back. We might need to pull off the squad.
What happened to leave no man behind?
Alright, I normally leave in the entire staging phase and then a lot of the drive towards the first point or whatever, but this is RAAS. It's going to get convoluted. I'm going to skip ahead. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of like the recurring theme of this match and just kind of dealing with people who are joking around and, I don't know, looking for a reaction. It's just a demonstration of what I'm talking about. I could be running a full BHM squad right now, trying to compensate, trying to fill the gaps for the team, but instead we're taking the approach of multiple leaders with the average, player base and then trying to manipulate that into something effective. It's just a good showcase of the struggles of this kind of strategy. Anyway, at this point, I'm basically just explaining to them how RAAS lanes work, what we're doing on the west end of the map, because I know that to them, they're probably just wondering why the fuck their SL is driving into the middle of nowhere, dropping people off at random locations, trying to get everyone onto my side by explaining things. And I'm just going to skip forward to about when we get the lane clarified. Yeah, so once airfield gets capped, it's either going to go to one of the Novos up here, which means it's going to be a central or east lane, or it's going to go down to you on Quarry, which means it's going to go west lane, which is what we're covering. We have one squad covering each. If it goes for central or east lane, we're all mounting back up. I'll swing by and pick you up and we're heading somewhere else entirely. As you can see here, I've only dropped a rally. I haven't fully committed to a hab. It's because the west lane's basically entirely clear. I'm not worried about people beating us here. And I want to save the supplies in case it does go east or central. Yep. Alright, head back in the truck.
in Mowgli.
I told everyone to stay close in case it went mid or east, and it did go mid or east, so now we're relocating. Now what follows here is a long ass drive. Eventually, the midpoint is clarified. It pops up in the central lane. So we're trying to get Butt Squad to relocate from east to west, and then we're trying to get Stiff Squad, who is covering central lane, to get on top of it. Now, at the time, I just call in Discord and I ask both of them to head towards it, and I assume the mid's going to be fine. I have 2 BHM squads on it. There's a rally on it right now. Another squad has already started the cap. I don't assume it's going to be an issue, so I start preparing for the next flags in line. However, as it gets closer, the situation deteriorates. There's kind of a tricky spawn situation that goes on that ends up trapping Stiff spawning at Novo, trying to push through contact to get to the flag, and there's no truck available, so he's not able to flank it. And then Butt gets a little bit caught up on the east. He didn't have access to a Logi truck, which I didn't know at the time. So I'll admit that at this point I'm kind of a little bit irked because it seemed like such an easy capture, but then looking back through the footage and talking to Stiff, I'm more able to see why the situation developed the way it did. There was actually a lot of contact down there in very inconvenient areas, as well as good armor plays by the enemy team. So I redirect and I come in from the north, which is pretty much a perfect flank. Everybody on that midpoint is capturing it or pushing south into Novo, and now I believe pretty firmly that I can make the difference on the mid and build that spawn. Now I'm trying to feed as much of this information as I can to my squad, but it is important to look at the time of the game. We're at like 1:40. Tanks are about to spawn and my guys haven't seen contact yet, so I'm starting to lose my squad here. This happens a lot where people don't trust my playstyle and they haven't played with me before, and I keep them out of the fight for too long and people start second guessing my knowledge of the game, because at the surface level it just looks like boring driving around in the middle of nowhere. Just 600 build, don't shoot anything. You can dump out a couple hundred ammo. One person stay and shovel this.
Just 600.
Everybody pull the rest of the build back onto the truck.
I'm gonna run all the way and fucking back to you guys, and I'm gonna get shot in the head as soon as I get there.
Okay, head towards scrapyard. One person stay to build. Everybody else head towards scrapyard. Rachel, I need you to get on the truck with me.
Even though you guys left me behind.
Hey guys, can you move the vehicle a little bit? Because I'm stuck on that.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, meet up with that Logi.
My squad's got defense on West
Okay,
Nova.
everybody push scrapyard. So this is when everything starts to work against us. This is the low point of the match. Butt has finally managed to spawn shift over, but he's trapped into West Novo as well as Stiff, and their blueberries are just getting melted. Trucks are being lost or aren't really in the most opportune positions to be building other fobs to really be maneuvering around this team. So ultimately right now, me with my Logi, I represent the only thing on this team really capable of compensating for the generally lost firefights that are occurring. As we're pushing this flag, which is now going in the enemy's favor, we are starting to lose control of West Novo. So it starts to become a matter of, I need to either halt this cap before it's full capped, or when it is full capped, I need to neutralize it fast enough that we don't lose Novo. This is a timed offense. If I do not get this double neutral, we are going to be in big trouble. The tool that I have available to me is the Logi truck. When I gave everybody the right to just rush that flag from that north, I expected them to open up on the first contact and not really make an effective push. I kind of wanted to go with them to try to convince them to stay quiet and try to give a proper offense and try to get onto that flag, but instead I just went for the option of building a closer spawn from a different direction that I could then use for that kind of attack if they weren't able to just walk on there and contest it. Now, one super annoying thing that starts happening right now is our north fob that we just built starts taking contact from people walking from the Petrivkas, which are their next flag in line. I kind of thought this might happen, but it's really annoying me. I don't care about the fob. I will give the 10 tickets up for that gladly. I just got a better fob to the west that's just as capable of contesting that mid. What I am worried about is the fact that it's going to distract the fuck out of my blueberries and convince them to go fight something that's not really important. This is doubly difficult because I don't just have to convince them that it's not important and that they should go somewhere else, But I also have to consider the fact that they are going to disagree. There are always intermediate level players who always play for the firefighter, play for that fob defense, who don't understand why I make the decisions I do, and are just going to think, why is this dumbass SL telling me to leave a fob that's about to go down? That's 10 tickets.
There's a FOB inside the scrapyard.
Let the north one go down. You can hold them off for a bit if you want, but I'm not worried about that. Use the west one to a scrapyard.
They're trying to move the Logi over here.
They're taking out a hat.
Yep, it's fine. Let the north one go down. If you're up there, you can go back to it, but if you're dead, just respawn west, hit scrapyard while it happens.
Copy. I'm just gonna blow up their logi so they can't set up.
Alright, so I'm starting to run out of time. They full capped, Novo does not look good, and ultimately our guys are just getting melted. They are winning the KD fight, they are fighting better, they are pushing off of a fob on defense, and they are pushing through our objective. This is just not good, but I have a couple of other tricks up my sleeve. What I kind of wanted to do was get multiple people spawning on the fob and then push with them and convince them to stealth it, but at this point I'm convinced that that's already a little bit lost. The people who walked in from the north were able to walk into the objective and have begun fighting. They did manage to get into a favorable position first, so it is looking okay, but I don't fully trust them to finish that fight and take things down. So I go for an insanely risky move here. I figure the north people are held up on our fob and are not yet to the tree line that will let them see the field that I'm about to drive in. I also figure that the south people are largely walking south towards Novo or are distracted on our guys to the west, and I just might be able to pull the ultimate BHM fob their fob move with just one clan member in the truck if I do everything right.
We got a hard start capping because it's about to be neutral.
We're running a guy over.
Right in front of us? Okay, yeah, nice.
He should be stuck under the truck, hopefully.
On the wall.
Dump supplies, okay.
We're back. We got a guy down here. Rapsdale and the East Novo have a rep station.
Shovel if you can.
Yeah, just
Pop it right on your left. Right, sharp left around the corner.
I heard it.
They're sitting on the ring. Right in front of your cab. In front of your cab.
He's down.
Just flank.
Gonna try to get you.
Okay.
I'm coming. I switched him. Roger.
Little buggy. There we go.
Cab, did you get
they're
that
giving
guy?
up.
Yeah, he's dead. We have double newt.
I'm in the hopper.
Okay.
Come to me, boys.
I'm gonna rush the friendly.
I'm digging their radio.
Should be able to hold West Novo also, though.
If you can recover
Do
our
you
happy
guys
north,
want
that'd
us
be
to
great.
kill the friendly chopper down? No.
Alright, so we pulled it off. We have the spawn going up right on the point. Their spawn's going down. Mortars are coming in, so I'm moving the truck. And ultimately, my clan members just said in Discord that they think they're going to be able to hold Novo long enough that it won't even be a double newt. So right now, I'm just thinking about how I want to either solidify my position on the midpoint or get the steamroll going on for the next flag in line. I start taking some fire from the eastern side of the objective, and we still have the people to the north to deal with. So while I drive by in kind of a risky move taking this fire, I'm calling out where the contact is for my squad and trying to convince them to push into it. I'm not going to be there to be able to micromanage them, so I have to explain the ideas of a decent net and a decent defense very quickly while taking some small arms coming from the east.
Copy. That's fine.
There's guys at the intersection east of Scrapyard. If you guys are on point, get ready for that. I'll mark them in a second.
You said east Scrapyard.
They shot me from there.
Hey, what's the GP?
Yep, they're on top of the hab is
Okay, if you guys are on scrapyard, you guys have to cover for the guys on the east who are coming in. And if you guys are dead, spawn north and try to catch those guys who are coming in from there.
But there's fucking infantry pushing
I
from
think
west
he's
as well.
closer to you guys, squad lead.
Yeah, they're gonna be north of you and west of you. Also.
Danger close behind us.
Alright, yeah, they're just pulling out.
See if I can live through this.
Yeah, we'll just pull out all of them.
Squad lead, do you want me to deal with the people who are at the hab, or do you want me to deal with the people at the intersection?
Deal with east. Prioritize east right now. These guys will take a while to come down.
Sounds good.
Yeah, they're digging back that full radio.
Can we get a...
like a bunch of
Yeah.
scrubs.
So as you can see, my squad really started to come into their own, and around this point, they start doing pretty well in the firefight, and they start kind of impressing me. The early game, trying to get people to back cap was a bit of an issue, and I don't know, I was not feeling too optimistic, but now that the firefights are starting, and they're actually holding that mid, I'm starting to like their playstyle a bit more. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to separate the logi. I'm trying to take it to the east, to this other hab, where I can have somebody spawn with me, and then I can come back and either build more midpoint fobs or move on. I am still kind of the only person with, like, readily available logistics at this point. So I am strongly considering whether or not I want to leap over and build an offensive fob and really get the momentum going, or if I want to solidify my position on the mid. Anyway, issues happen. I get over there, I get shot out of the truck by one fucking guy roaming around on the east side of the map, which is always infuriating. But I respawn back there, we kill the guy, I get one person to spawn with me, and I start talking in Discord. I do not have people available to spawn shift, and because I just took the mid, I'm going to hold it. Now my infantry is going to hold it, but I am separate with a logi truck. Ultimately, what I should be doing right now is expanding my defensive network, but because out of the three of us, I'm the only one with fast logistics available, instead I'm going to talk in Discord and tell everybody that I will build an attack fob for whichever squad can afford to be on offense right now. Whoever has the most dead and can spawn shift the quickest. If somebody needs to move on to offense, I will build you the fob. I will build an offensive fob that somebody has to spawn shift.
That was longer than usual.
My squad's spawn shift to scrapyard.
Do you have dead? Stuff?
Got me in my fucking neck.
Keep him dead. I'll build you a spawn for lower pet.
Yeah, he's right on those bushes. They took out Charlie.
Okay, hop in, Jay. So earlier we reached kind of our low point, where we were just dying, we were getting pushed off Novo, and things were starting to look bad. But what happened? An SL outmaneuvered it. Everybody was just moving in a totally predictable fashion on the enemy team. Walk off defense, walk on to offense. A couple of people on the north were breaking that pattern and causing a little bit of an issue for us, but it was only a couple people, and we resolved it. So ultimately, right now, even though the enemy team is pushing our guys and shooting better than them, we are outmaneuvering them. And with that capture begins the series of outmaneuvering that wins the game. This is now the high point. Even though our infantry has kind of proven that their infantry can walk all over ours, at this point it doesn't matter.
You want to put in this compound
There's
to our
some
left?
people to the north of scrap.
You hear
You want to
something?
put in this compound to our
They
left?
are thinking. Or
I'm
maybe
No,
gonna
I
put it
just
right down
almost
their throat.
accidentally left.
I build aggressive fobs, I just need to build a lot of speed on the north, coast it down the tree line, I can build it just east of it. I can hear the doubt in your voice, but trust Papa Captain.
No, I was saying.
From this point on, the match is just textbook momentum. The enemy team just keeps on building on defense, walking to offense, and we are just going to keep on building behind their defense and taking it with spawn shifts. Never having opportunities for infantry to be off of objectives, always having them fighting until they die and then they can shift so that we constantly have contact on objectives, and always taking offense objectives so fast that they don't even have a time to make the distance to capture our defense before they're already losing their flag that they have failed to defend. This is just going to happen over and over from this point on. Your call if you want. If you have nothing
I'm
else
gonna
to
hit
do.
it with static barrage.
Yeah, Roger, we're home.
I'm going really close, so wait until
Smart man.
you see where I build my fob before you decide to do that.
I'm
You
coming.
could probably do like J845, that compound out there. J841. They just
Tommy,
made
he's
it
right in
right
front
now.
of us. Heads up.
Alright, go ahead and hop out. Dump 600 build, half the ammo or so.
gun right here.
I was looking squad 3.
Get ready to use your gun.
Shit, if it
I'm
works
an
out,
idiot.
whenever we go second hand.
Just start mortar.
Go ahead, start building. It's already down. It's over here.
You got the fob down yet? Alright.
How much contact are you guys taking on Scrapyard? Is it fairly clear now?
Not that much. It's mostly the mortars that are there.
Okay.
They're coming at us pretty good.
Just keep doing your thing.
only half. Yeah.
They're coming east now. East of Scrapyard.
Marking enemy half.
Got one. Good shot, Tommy. He was on the road.
I can 8-10 it real quick if you guys want some guys.
Here, vehicle.
No, it'll be an easy capture.
Roger.
I wouldn't use the asset yet.
Is that another
Helicopter
helicopter?
right up front.
Alright, let's
Tommy
push in
comes
and go
in.
get that.
He's got followers. Yep. Right side road, right side.
Yo, who's shooting?
Right.
Alright, we're gonna make one push with
The element of surprise.
Yeah, right in front of you guys. You push down that road, right side.
To the south?
Roger that to the south, right at the intersection, right side of the road. He's got a heavy arms though. He can.
Half is south and
The point.
Alright, lay down your C4. Covering.
I don't have C4.
Alright, go for it.
I'm gonna stay with Tommy on this.
Alright.
Scrapyard get hit.
Yo,
Alright,
can
Jay,
you
they're
get
fine
out?
here. Let's head back to the truck.
Yeah, I got you. You got it? Oh my god.
We're heading back to the truck, Jay.
Probably blue head.
If you're on Scrapyard, they made it past you. They're taking down the central fob. They're starting capping. So looking at the map right now, we are starting to lose the defense because a few people made it past the people to the east. My worst fear right now is that they built a spawn in Novo or something, and this is actually an attack that's backed by a spawn that we're going to have trouble overcoming. But I imagine it's just a few people who made it past them. That's kind of the thing I'm going with here when I ultimately choose to get back in the truck, but I am keeping an eye on it. I believe this will resolve in our favor, and I'm not too worried, but I am prepared if I have to go back and work on a stealth cap because we only double neutral. But can you handle next flag?
digging the radio.
They got nothing on the next point. I'm assuming.
We're holding Scrapyard.
I am too.
Might go Newt.
First and foremost, take the hammer. Be in a spot.
Beautiful fucking hit on the alley, whoever got that.
It's falling down on top of me right now. Ooh, it flipped us.
Anyone know where that tank is, man?
East 133.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Alright, so while you watch me struggle trying to deal with this, I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to hit the next flag in line or go back, obviously. And I ultimately decide to hit the next flag in line just because, once again, we just spawn shifted stiff up, but still back there without really any means of transportation. I am the only logistics in the area, even though I only have 600 builds. I am our best bet of carrying this momentum. So in order to do this, I do have to leave my blueberries quite a ways behind. They can't really spawn shift because there isn't a ton of contact. I can try to kind of get them to spawn shift, but I can't do it too reliably. So I'm kind of accepting that we're leaving 9 men out of our 27 men behind in order to hit their next flag in a timely manner.
Gotta be careful, people have
here.
I'm gonna build another fob for lower.
Yeah,
They're gonna
I
hit.
don't have Logi. They nailed
guys
it
who were here
down at
moved.
Scrapyard.
I can build the fob for you to
the guys who were
assault,
here moved
possibly.
already?
Just have people getting ready to spawn shift. Yeah, they've moved south. I'm trying
we
to... We might build another offensive fob on the
have
next
again?
flag. We need to do several
gotcha.
things. We need to get another defensive fob on
Did you
lower
guys get
pit,
hit?
but we need to also get an offensive fob so we can get there before the enemy team. I have a squad that's ready to shift again, but it's just a matter of which to prioritize because we only have 600 build.
My squad is very slow to respond. Like, super sluggish.
As long as you have 3 ready to spawn shift, we're good.
I think next
Within
flag
about
is last we tried to
2
go
minutes.
Logi there.
I'll head there.
Looks like they have a Logi toward
Hang, is there
north.
any way you can get a
Mhm, that's one of the next 3
command mark on
flags
that?
too.
Are you coming back to get us, Captain? Or...
No, I'm just building the fob. Oh, you guys
Okay.
down at scrap? Hold up a sec. I'll talk to you
Okay.
in a sec.
Guys, that's
No problem, take it down.
have at least one retreat from the east. I just push northwest from, like I'm heading somewhere northwest.
If you guys are down at scrap, you're now clear to leave. Push into contact and die. If there is contact, if there isn't, you can start walking towards lower pit and I'll pick you up in a second. It's Croppy. Alright, stay in the truck.
Never mind, I was wrong.
They got our
Stay in the truck. We're gonna drive straight there.
Take.
Hop back in. We're going to Croppy.
They didn't know command was.
Anything daring?
I didn't see anything.
I'm driving straight in. I'm risking it for biscuits.
We got fire armor and
Looks like that. I'm getting shot from the north.
Hey, 10, you guys
Yep. He was scouting out Croppy for us, and shots are coming from
we're
somewhere
back,
else.
but we're getting it back up. We got guy that back
Yeah, sounds like it was farther north.
Yeah, they have a
Lodge
lodging
north.
north.
Yeah.
My squad's limit trading onto lower. Can't move them.
I need anyone with spawn shifts to go Croppy down.
Chopper's scout.
If anyone dies, spawn
Just
Croppy.
me.
We have 3 between us.
All my guys are spawned on lower.
Yeah,
you
you
got
got
me
me
in ping.
Looks like we're gonna be getting company soon.
So,
I'll try to have my guys go into contact.
We got company.
We'll have friendly spawning soon. Yeah.
BHM.
We have a Logi on the north. They just drove a Logi in right here. They just drove a Logi in my observe mark when you spawn. Observe mark is Logi, also to infantry. If you have nades, go for it. The only thing worse than this grenade toss is the fact that I didn't even notice it bounced back until it hit me. I got the SL +2.
Got the radio. Got your cap in a second. Let me bandage. Pizza, move up.
yeah, I'm on,
What you
My
needed
radio's
again
not in
here?
the shed. It was a bad mark. I heard it. Ran air.
Okay, we're doing.
Okay, looks
We're
like
going
all the
way too
infantry's dead.
fast paced for blueberries. We gotta consolidate on Croppy. That's all
Yeah.
the match here.
They're trying, but there's just nowhere for them to kill themselves, so they're
do
just
they
kind of
hear that
running
like
across now.
We have to compensate more for blueberries and we're going at clan pace. It's working. We're pulling it off through spawn shifts and shit with 3 people, but
Man, this is a blowout.
let's just chill at Croppy for a bit. Everybody try to get some lodges, try to get some supplies, try to AT south tree line. Somewhere in there. Oh, never mind. That was a friendly. Never mind, sorry. I thought that was our truck that just got hit, not the enemy truck.
Ooh, I'd be lagging.
Did anybody else just like shift
Yeah.
30 feet in the air?
Teleport?
Yeah, time.
I just
yeah,
team
this
killed
is-
Butt
You got
I just got a message for that. I
Oh,
don't
I
shoot.
just did it again.
GG. Well played, boys.
That shit happened.
got outplayed.
into the air and it just came.
Outplayed.
When it happened to Butt, it gave me the team kill.
Okay.
You deserve
Everybody's
it.
still running around though, except I keep TPing back.
It
Alright,
happened
anybody
only
who
once
goes
to
down,
me.
spawn at Croppy. I'll pick up anyone who's not
Yeah, but
going down.
we
I'll pick you
won't
guys up on
I hope they're
Uber.
mad.
So this is kind of where my match ends at Croppy. I was like running really thin, working off those 600 builds that Aang kept bringing me in the heli, just desperately trying to get that next fob to that next fob to carry the momentum. Normally this would be carried a lot more evenly in terms of Logi truck weight, and I would only have to worry about my objectives and the other guys would push past me. But we just ended up in a series of circumstances where I was the person in position to do it, and nobody else had the truck available. So I've been run really thin this match, trying to get fob after fob after fob on offense and trying to get people to spawn shift. And like I said, we're going at clan pace, trying to get blueberries to keep up, which we can do in ideal circumstances, but it's a challenge, obviously, and it's very mentally taxing for all of us. So I am just chilling out. I have planted my flag on that objective. I am going back for supplies. I'm going back to grab my guys who didn't spawn shift. And then I'm just going to do a Logi run, maybe build a second fob if I can get supplies. And I'm chilling on that objective for the rest of the game. Everybody else can go in offense. We can just end the game here, honestly. Unless anyone's in position to go build a fob to attack, we've all been out of position to do that. I've been the only one with a Logi ready, and even then it's barely working and barely has any supplies. Just gotta take some
every
time
time
to
I
get
try and dig the radio, I teleport. I can do everything else but dig this.
No, Fiasco and Stiff actually have a pretty good offense on the next flag, and it's actually some interesting interplay dealing with a tank. Unfortunately, I'm not looking at the map a bunch, so I don't really catch too much of it. I mostly just hear about it afterwards. So I wish I could showcase it a bit more, but I didn't see too much of it. I just ultimately end up building a second fob on the south, which, as you can see, gets overrun towards the end of the match by the people blueberry migrating back from the outdated objectives, but we're still able to easily hold on to it for long enough to allow the others to capture. And I just do my Logi run back towards the main base for the entire rest of the match. And that pretty much concludes everything. As we get to the end screen, you can really see what I was talking about with the KD difference. It was probably worse early game, and it probably got better as we got into situations where we started steamrolling Habs like we were. There's usually a KD advantage that comes with that, but still we did go quite negative. And you can really just see ultimately how 3 SLs, a Logi truck with supplies, and a little bit of thinking can compensate for that. Even if it's a little bit of a struggle at first, since they all rushed the mid, they all understood it was going to be a central lane, they all went to really common locations for flags, and we just ended up starting out with something that was nothing more than a fob v fob firefight that we were losing. We were just able to build what we had to get around them, and then we were able to outmaneuver them for the entire rest of the match. And we turned a situation where we were getting slightly pushed in by slightly better players into just no competition, flag after flag, capture after capture. The power of SLs in squad, and the power of fob networks, logistics, spawning, spawn shifting, and how this stuff can be used to absolutely dominate games where you would otherwise have a big disadvantage if you just stuck to one fob and walked in a straight line.
I should have clipped that. Whatever I just did.
Winning.
Goddamn. Falling back. Well done.
All I did was walk around this game, Jesus.
Flawless victory. Flawless victory.
Shit. Tony,
10 fucking kills. Fuck you.
I got 48 kills. Nice. Yeah.
Who the fuck did I kill that got picked up? All my kills were either in
I think
the
the helicopters.
Just gotta get 19 kills.
or